Language.
English left paren US right. No activities. Language. Doc. Phone. Pay. Ears travel cards. Ears travel cards. Are other. Skip. Ears travel cards main menu. Resume. Button. Road trip. 700 miles. Road trip. 1,000 miles. Road trip. 1,200 miles.
Using 1 coin
Direct
to
touch
play.
area.
You have 5 coins left. To
Use
get
the
more
rotor to
coins,
enable
press
direct
buy
touch
or
for this
upgrade
app.
game. To go back to the main menu, swipe up with 3 fingers. Starting road trip, 1,200 miles. You are playing with Mariel, who is a very good player. Dealing your cards. Dealing Mariel's cards. Dealing a card to discard pile. You have 6 cards. 200. Stop. More gas. Go. Speed limit. Speed limit. Discard pile top card is 50. Stop. More gas. Go. You drew power tire from the deck. Now select a. You played go.
Mariel drew a card from the deck. Mariel played stop on you.
You drew crash from the speed power crash. You cannot play crash. Speed limit. You played speed limit on Mariel. You drew 25. You discarded 20. You drew 75. Power tire. You played power tire.
Mariel drew a card from the deck. Mariel played 75.
You drew power gas from the deck. Speed. More gas. Stop. 200. Stop. You cannot play stop because Mariel is protected by a power. You discarded stop. You drew go from the deck. Go. You played go. Speed. More gas. Crash. More gas. 200. More. Set. Power. Power gas. You drew 75 from the. You played power gas and scored a power up.
Mariel drew.
You drew more gas. More gas. You discarded. You drew 100. You discarded 1. You drew new tire. Set. Speed limit. Crash. You played crash on Mariel.
Mariel drew a card from the deck. Mariel discarded end of limit.
It's your 70. More gas. New. You drew 100. 100. You discarded. You drew go from the. You played go. More gas.
Mariel has traveled 350 miles. Power card power go. Mariel cannot go because of a crash card.
You have traveled 0 miles. Power card power tire. Power card power gas. 77. Speed 200. You drew 25 from the deck. You played 200.
Mariel drew a card from the deck. Mariel discarded new tire.
You drew repairs from the deck. 75. You played 75.
Mariel drew a card from the deck. Mariel discarded go.
It's your turn. You drew go from the deck. More gas. 75. You played 75.
Mariel drew a card from the deck. Mariel discarded 25.
You drew 100. New. Go. 100. You played 100. You drew repairs from repairs. Go. Repair. 20. New tire. 25. You played 25.
Mariel drew a card from the deck. Mariel discarded end of limit.
You drew 200. Go. You played 200.
Mariel drew a card from the deck. Mariel discarded 50.
It's your. You drew 50 from 50. You played 50.
Mariel drew a card from the deck. Mariel discarded 25.
You drew repairs from the deck. Go. Repairs. New top. More. More gas. Speed limit. You cannot play speed. You discard. You drew 75. You have traveled 725 miles. You played 75. You have traveled 800 miles. You drew crash from the deck. Crash. You discarded crash. You drew new tire. You discarded new. You drew 25 from the deck. You discarded 20. You drew 100 from the deck. You played 100.
Mariel drew a card from the deck. Mariel discarded flat tire.
It's your turn. You have traveled 900 miles. And played two 200 miles cards. You drew go from the deck. Go. You played go. You drew repairs. Repairs. You discard. You drew more gas from the deck. You discarded more gas. You drew 75 from the deck. You played 75.
Mariel drew a card from the deck. Mariel discarded 25.
You drew 200 from the deck. 200. You cannot play 200 because two 200 miles cards were already played. You cannot play. You discarded 200.
Mariel drew a card from the deck. Mariel discarded end of limit.
You drew 75. You played 75. You drew 25 from the deck. 20. You played 25.
Mariel drew a card from the deck. Mariel discarded new tire.
It's your turn. Draw. You drew power repairs from the deck. Now, power repairs. You played power repairs.
Mariel drew a card.
You drew 200 from the deck. 200. You discarded. You drew go from the deck. You discard. You drew 25. You played 25. You drew 50 from the deck. You played go. 50. You drew go from the deck. You played 50.
Mariel drew a card from the deck. Mariel discarded 50.
You drew repairs. Go. You played go. You drew 100. Repairs. 100. You cannot play 100 because you cannot go further than 50 or you will exceed the target. You discarded 100. You drew 100. You discarded 1. You drew repairs from the deck. You discarded. You drew 25. 25. You cannot play 25 because you must play a go card before you can move. You have traveled 1150 miles. And played two 200 miles cards. Power card power tire. Power card power gas. Power card power repairs. You cannot go until a go card is. You cannot play 25. More. New. You discarded repair. You drew go from the. Go. You played go. Deck empty. Nothing drawn. Now select a card from your hand to play or discard. Repairs. 25. You. Repair. Deck empty. Nothing drawn. Now select a. Repair. Repairs. You cannot play. You discarded repairs.
Deck empty.
Repairs. Deck empty. You discarded repairs.
Deck empty. Mariel doesn't draw. Mariel discarded 100.
It's your turn. Repairs. Deck empty. Nothing drawn. Now select a card. You cannot play repairs because you discarded repairs.
Deck empty. Mariel doesn't draw.
Deck empty. Nothing drawn. More gas. New tire. You discarded new tire.
Deck empty. Mariel doesn't draw.
You have one card. More gas. Deck empty. Nothing drawn. You discarded more gas.
Deck empty. Mariel doesn't draw. Mariel discarded flat tire.
You scored 1150 points for distance, 300 points for power cards, and 300 points for power-ups.
Mariel scored 350 points for distance, 100 points for power cards, and 0 points for power-ups.
Congratulations. Using one coin to play. Starting game 2. Dealing your cards. Dealing Bob's cards. Dealing a card to discard pile. You have 6 cards. End of limit. 50. 100. Stop. Go. End of limit. Discard. You drew power tire from the 100. Stop. Go. You played go.
Bob drew a card from the deck. Bob played flat tire on you.
You drew 50. Power tire. You played power tire and scored a power up.
Bob drew a card from the deck. Bob discarded stop.
You drew 150, 100. 50, end of limit, 50, 100. End, 1, stop. You cannot play stop because Bob cannot go. End of 100. You have.
Bob has traveled 0 miles. Bob cannot go until a go card is played.
100. You played 100.
Bob drew a card from the deck. Bob played go.
You drew end of limit, end of, stop, 50, stop. You played stop on Bob.
Bob drew a card from the deck. Bob discarded 50.
You drew end of limit, 50, 100, end of 100. You played 100.
Bob drew a card from the deck. Bob discarded more gas.
You drew new tire from the deck. End of new tire. You discarded new tire. You drew 200 from. You played 200.
Bob drew a card from the deck. Bob discarded new tire.
It's your turn. Draw a card.
Voiceover off.
You drew go from the deck. Go. End of limit. End of 50. End of limit. 50. You played 50. You drew 25. End of go. 25. You played 25.
Bob drew a card from the deck. Bob discarded 50.
It's your turn. Draw a card. End of go. You drew 25 from the 25. You played 25.
Bob drew a card from the deck. Bob discarded repairs.
You drew 100, 100. You played 100.
Bob drew a card from the deck. Bob discarded 25.
You drew 200 from 200. You played 200.
Bob drew a card from the deck. Bob discarded 50.
It's your turn. Draw a card. You drew 100 from the deck. Now select a card from your hand to play or discard. 100. You played 100.
Bob drew a card from the deck. Bob discarded 50.
It's your turn. Draw a card. You drew 75 from the deck. 75. You played 75.
Bob drew a card from the deck. Bob played power go.
It's your turn. You drew more gas. Go. More gas. You cannot play more. You discarded more. You drew 75. 75. You played 75.
Bob drew a card from the deck. Bob played 100.
You drew 50 from. You have traveled 1050 miles.
Bob has traveled 175 miles.
Go. 50. You played 50.
Bob drew a card from the deck. Bob played 100.
You have traveled 1100 miles. You drew 70, 50, 75. You played 75. You drew more gas. 50. More. 50. You cannot play 50 because you have traveled 1175 miles. And played 200 miles cards. Power card power tire. More gas. 50. Go. 50. Go. You played go. More gas. You drew 200. 200. You cannot. You discarded 200.
Bob drew a card from the deck. Bob played 25.
You drew 100. 100. You cannot play 100 because you cannot go further than 25 or you will exceed the target. More. 50. End of. End of. End of. End of. You discarded. You drew 25. 25. You played 25. You scored 1200 points for distance, 100 points for power cards, and 300 points for power-ups. You scored an additional 400 points for a completed trip. Your total score is 2000 points.
Bob scored 450 points for distance, 100 points for power cards, and 0 points for power-ups.
You scored 2,000 points, and beat your prior high score of 1,750 points. Congratulations! You should post your score to Twitter or Facebook by tapping the screen twice with 2 fingers. Swipe up to play again, or swipe up with 3 fingers to return to the main menu.
Ears travel. Control. Set. Blue. Pre-play. Sprite. Flash. Time. Calc. Camera. And here. Sound. Selected. Screen record.